Good evening, viewers, and welcome to today's edition of the news. First, let's have a look at the headlines. President Draupadi Murmu says sustainability is a necessity, not a slogan, at ICMAI convocation. Government response to low PGI ranking cites legacy issues. Education Minister Rakam A. Sangma says over 2,500 schools have been renovated. Education Minister Rakam A. Sangma says ST scholarships to be released in phases. And Shillong Municipal Board directed all street vendors to shift to designated vending zones by July 22nd. And now for the news in detail. President Draupadi Murmu emphasized the urgent need for sustainability in the face of climate change, declaring it no longer a slogan but a necessity. Speaking at the National Students' Convocation 2025 of the Institute of Course Accountants of India, she urged students to use their skills to shape a greener future. She lauded ICMAI's pivotal role in strengthening India's economy and highlighted the evolving responsibility of course accountants in driving ethical and sustainable growth.
The world is facing the crisis of climate change. Sustainability is no longer a slogan, it has become a necessity. That time is over when corporate organizations work solely with the profit motive. Now they have to keep the environmental cost in mind. And this is where you, with your skills, can bring about a great change in the future of the planet.
The Meghalaya government has downplayed the state's lowest ranking in the 2023-2024 Performance Grading Index for school education, attributing it to decades of neglect by previous administrations. Education Minister Rakam A. Sangma stated that the current score reflects the cumulative impact of 30 to 40 years of underinvestment in the education sector. He highlighted that over 2,500 schools have been renovated under the present government and noted that multiple school categories often share the same campus, which may have been misinterpreted in the PGI assessment.
Because in the last 20-30 years, government of Meghalaya did not put any efforts to reform, to streamline the education system, to build the infrastructure, right? Completely left abandoned. In the last 2-3 years, more than 2,700 schools has been renovated, and more than 700 to 800 schools has been newly constructed. For the 6 different unit schools in the Sun campus, this has become 22-23%. Therefore, this figure is being reflected like this also. But, however, we are going to streamline all this under the dynamic leadership of the Chief Minister. We are doing all reform. Our Chief Minister and the governance, we are all committed to bring the reform, and we are initiated, and you will see the result tomorrow at the afternoon.
Meghalaya Education Minister Rakam A. Sangma announced that the state government is disbursing scholarships for ST students in phased installments depending on fund availability from the ministry. He noted that unlike earlier practice of one-time disbursement, the current approach ensures broader and more efficient coverage. He also revealed that in addition to the centrally sponsored post-metric scholarship scheme, the state will soon launch the Chief Minister's scholarship to further support students pursuing higher education.
Whenever we receive the installments released from the ministry, we used to give full amount to certain beneficiary. Suppose if it is 60,000, we used to give whatever we receive from the ministry, we used to give full amount to the first 20,000. The rest 40,000 had to wait for another installment. And in addition to that, another 6,000 per beneficiary from the state, from the CM sponsor, scholarship for all the students across the state. Yeah.
The conflict between Iran and Israel has intensified, with both nations continuing to exchange missile strikes. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei declared that retaliation against Israel will persist following U.S. involvement in strikes on Iranian nuclear sites. In a social media post, Khamenei warned that Israel had made a grave error. Iranian officials added that their military is currently assessing the timing and scale of further responses to the U.S. attacks. Two separate cases of earring snatching involving young girls were reported from Molai Nongkwar and Molai Nonglum on June 18th and 20th. The perpetrators allegedly lurched the girls to secluded areas and forcefully removed their earrings, with one incident involving the use of sharp object. CCTV footage captured three suspects, two men and a woman, walking in the area. Acting on the evidence, Molai police apprehended the female suspect on Sunday, who was later taken to Jhalupara to identify a location where the stolen earring were believed to be sold. The Bharatiya Janata Party in southwest Garo Hills inaugurated the new district office in Ambati and held a district-level exhibition as part of the nationwide Viksit Bharat Ka Amrit Kal celebration, commemorating 11 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership. Meghalaya BJP President Rikmanji Momin, along with District President Bhupendra Hajong and State Vice President Anil Hajong, led the event. The exhibition highlighted key central government welfare schemes and infrastructure initiatives. The Seng Samla Molai Pillun has called on the Public Health Engineering Department to construct a dedicated water pipeline from Moplang to Molai Moro to tackle the ongoing water crisis in the area. During a meeting with the PHE Chief Engineer SSMP, President Samuel Biam highlighted that many Molai localities receive water only twice a week, causing severe hardship. He stressed that a separate pipeline would ensure regular and adequate water supply, reducing dependence on the current shaft system.
Longba kesong Molai jung ngi thui phi kanik ka habidi ba kanik house connection nei ka Molai ka yo tang arsian sitio kat bagi wi kisnong gibri sabar kisnong Molai ki yo baro sitio luntar bas tem bat mien te henry kat bau pipeline ding ju ka baya ka pipeline gibri support Molai ki penduna support Molai ki penbuan segi wi kisnong ngim tep halor kono kono rem kai ka dapat pelong ki bakin penduna kom ni ma beling hat man pesngoi kan ni ma ka di jung kap jong pai ba la ki wi kisnong ki belong sabar kisnong Molai ki yo ngoi phi kom ladap pensai men ni ki yo poho belingi ngim yo.
A tragic incident unfolded in Mauklam, Nong Pindeng West Khasi Hills on Sunday when a 54-year-old man fatally stabbed a 59-year-old relative following a drunken altercation. According to the police, the incident occurred around 4:50 p.m. near the victim's residence where he tended livestock. The accused, identified as P. Nongkar, who allegedly attacked his relative as Kharbani with a knife during a heated argument. The crime scene unit from Shillong has launched a forensic investigation and the suspect remains in police custody as the case continues.
Kali bahar tanah tu kata nama kadang don kajinya yam beriwa atau kapor mo sembla yo kan kali punya isu baka ka don kajinya jadi buat tu kejekah pada kat kun kajinya tu jom diberi kalong ba dia don rimut kata kejekah nama we pai situ khanai ke lap yo ire ka kam ka bala jia tang ta hin dapat kai ka bala maki ki yo i ka ba ka jinya mi snam ga yu ha ka bet pat na ka len jung we na ki no ap na si lang hang ta te ula kami no ekawat but ula beri saya jengai ekawat.
The Shillong Municipal Board has directed all street vendors with valid certificates of vending to shift to designated vending zones starting July 22nd. The order follows a verification process conducted under the Meghalaya Street Vendors Scheme 2023, aligned with the National Street Vendors Act of 2014. A meeting led by SMB CEO PK Boro and Town Vending Committee Chairperson was held on Monday with members of the Meghalaya and Greater Shillong Progressive Hawkers and Street Vendors Association. Officials declined to share details of the discussions. A total of 1,713 Indian nationals have been safely evacuated from Iran and Israel under Operation Sindhu, the Ministry of External Affairs confirmed. Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margareta welcomed 285 evacuees who arrived in New Delhi from Mashhad, Iran on Saturday night. She announced that 2 to 3 more evacuation flights are scheduled in the coming days and assured that the ministry remains in constant contact with Indian citizens in both conflict-affected countries. And now for the weather report. First, let's take a look at the weather report in Tura. Minimum temperature 23 degrees Celsius, maximum temperature 29 degrees Celsius, relative humidity is 75%. Moving on to Shillong, minimum temperature 18.5 degrees Celsius, maximum temperature 25.1 degrees Celsius, and relative humidity is 74%, rainfall 12 millimeters. Meanwhile, in July, minimum temperature 18 degrees Celsius, maximum temperature 22 degrees Celsius, relative humidity is 76%, and rainfall is 14 millimeters. And forecast in Tura, Shillong and Jowai says moderate rain and thunder shower is likely to occur at most places. And now for the headlines once again. President Draupadi Murmu says sustainability is a necessity, not a slogan at ICMAI convocation. Government response to low PGI ranking cites legacy issues. Education Minister Rakam A. Sangma says over 2,500 schools have been renovated. Education Minister Rakam A. Sangma says ST scholarships to be released in phases. And Shillong Municipal Board directed all street vendors to shift to designated vending zones by July 22nd. Well, that's all we have for you in today's edition of the news. Do tune in tomorrow at the same time and same channel. Have a good night.